just given a talk a little bit about Milk and where we've come from and our birth 5 years ago. Then we've just gone into some of the work we've done on Doctor Who, specifically on the Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time.
There was maybe a bit more pressure on the Christmas episode as it was Capaldi's last one and Jodie starting, but you know, we just took it in our stride. We've been doing Doctor Who for so long now that we're a well-oiled machine.
In the last series, the lice I think were really successful.
Yeah.
I was a massive fan of the original Mummy film with Brendan Fraser, and I wasn't in the industry at that point, and I loved all the little scarab beetles that they'd done in that, and just getting them to swarm. And I think that was one of the first times that they ever tried to do that at ILM. So getting a chance to do that and create lice with all this, you know, iridescent texture and shading on the beetles and getting them to swarm around a human, you know, was a lot of fun. Half-Face Man, that was a pretty challenging effect to do because obviously we have to take away half a guy's face, replace it with cogs and mechanisms all turning over inside his head. So there was a lot of object tracking there, and then making sure all the metal looked real, and then making sure it all sat nicely underneath the prosthetics that had already been done on set. So that was quite a challenging one.
A lot of it is converging. Obviously TV has shorter timelines, but that doesn't really affect the pipeline so much. And in fact, working on film projects allows us to sort of develop new tools for the pipeline, which we can then use on TV projects when needed.
Yeah. I mean, we're using the same tools for film or for TV. Most of the time it just comes down to the amount of time there is that we can spend on film versus TV. But we're always striving to try and get the same sort of quality in our TV work that we do in the film work.
When I went to university, I studied film production and I wanted to be a production designer, and then that didn't quite pan out, and I got my foot in the door job for the Sci-Fi Channel working for their post-production team, and I kind of felt like, I'd like to be a bit more involved in film, and it was then someone suggested, well, like, you're in post-production, why don't you look at visual effects? And it wasn't something I'd considered. But I went for an interview at Frame Store and I got the job, and the rest is history. I think, I found my niche.
I went down the traditional route. I did an art foundation, and I always loved film since I was a kid. Watching Jurassic Park was a big influence for me. I knew I wanted to get into the industry. I originally wanted to either do acting or directing, but then when I went and did the art foundation, I saw some guys in a corner working on 3D Studio Max, and I thought, oh, great. I don't need a crew, I don't need a camera, I can do it all in the computer, that's fantastic, I can do it on my own. So it sort of stemmed from there, and I did a computer animation degree, and then I spent an extra 6 months after university just refining my showreel, just so I felt I wanted to just make it look a little bit more professional and do everything that I've taken from university and just sort of apply it. And then I applied for some work, and actually I didn't get anywhere. I was a little bit stubborn, I'll be honest. I was getting runner offers, but I thought moving into London on the sort of salary, and I'd just done 4 years at university. So I ended up going down the graphic design route for 3-4 years, kept doing my visual effects on the side, and then reapplied again 3-4 years. Like Louise, it was bugging me that I wasn't quite in the right place. I had a few friends in the industry by then, so I handed out my reels to them, and started at Mill Film and TV, and then transitioned with them over to Milk.
I had no idea what visual effects was until I was already working in the media. So I think, girls and other minorities, they need to be told at school level before they're thinking about what university to go to that this is an option for you, and eventually as the sort of industry gets more diverse, there will then be role models for them to look up to, and it will be more of an obvious career choice for them, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I always knew I liked film, and then I'd try and watch as many making of videos as I could. That's sort of where I sort of saw more opportunity there. I was like, oh, this is what these guys do, and this is how they create it, and that just grew and grew and grew, and my interest grew with that. So I think all those sort of things are really important. So it's a little bit scary that we're now losing the sort of the hard copies of Blu-rays and DVDs, and we're going down a digital route. So I think it's quite important that there are platforms out there that show all of that behind-the-scenes stuff still. For all the youngsters growing up. You
learn a lot going to university just on life lessons, but ultimately it's very expensive these days, and I think if you are determined and you know what you want to do, you can get office work, get a receptionist job, get a runner job, and work your way up. Just because you can't go to university, it doesn't mean you can't get into visual effects, I think.
Yeah. I think the thing with universities is it offers you that time to sort of learn about your own skills and what you're good at and your creativity over the period of time. Personally, if I had a kid, I would be sort of looking at other options. I know escape studio, I've been to escape studios for some courses, and I think, you know, an intense course like that is a very good introduction to getting into the industry. You know, we've seen a transition move away from LA to London, and you're seeing a lot more boutique companies starting up, which is, I think, is really exciting. So you haven't just got these, you know, these big companies that do a lot of the big films. You're also seeing in boutique studios doing the big films as well, you know, and they're taking on a pile of work that's enough for them to get on with, and I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, and all the sort of high-end TV series coming out on Netflix and Amazon, I think is going to keep everyone busy for quite some time.